Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Homebox PAR tent, and we're going to go in deep and see exactly what the benefits of a tent is, why, how, what, where and when we can get them from, and let's just ask Foxy every single question we can possibly think of.
Cheers, Thomas. So, Homebox, they were the inventors of a grow tent. All those years ago, a chap called Dennis decided that he'd build a grow tent. There was a lot of sort of DIY ones around, sort of people using wood and different type of materials, but he wanted something that was a more sort of permanent product that people could buy and he could sell.
So basically, they decided we need to design a tent that we can put inside the house that's going to be fireproof. Light-proof, is it?
Light-proof, yeah.
Yeah.
And a way to control the environment, because when it comes to growing, your environment is everything.
Environment is key.
Yeah. Absolutely
paramount.
Key. Environment, so we're talking about temperature, we're talking about airflow, we're talking about the building blocks for life for your plant.
So basically with a tent, this allows you to manipulate your own environment perfectly.
You can control everything, but the type of tent you use can seriously affect things like temperature inside the tent. We have a material that's called PAR+, and what PAR+ stands for, PAR is photosynthetically active radiation. It's a narrow band of electromagnetic energy, 400 to 700 nanomoles, which plants use in photosynthesis. Think of PAR really as it's sort of like a photonic fuel for your plants. The more PAR energy your plants receive, the more they grow and the more flowers they produce. So when it comes to growing, it's all about PAR. It's not about lumens. Lumens are for humans.
Exactly, I was just about to say that. So when we're talking about PAR, to put it simply, a lot of people measure light in lumens or in lux, but what we should all be measuring that light in is in a PAR. We should be getting PAR meter readings.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
PAR is what they see.
Because in terms of PAR, we had some independent tests done. We had a Homebox PAR+ tent versus a competitor's SANlight tent, and 91.8% of a growing area received 80 PAR watts or more. The competitor's grow tent, which was a SANlight grow tent, only received 69.4. Now, excess heat is the number one killer when it comes to producing taste, aromas, medicinal benefits we expect from our gardens. Many growers are not achieving really the necessary light levels or maintaining cool enough temperatures. And with a PAR+ tent, you can look forward to temperatures, 4 degrees cooler, which doesn't sound a lot, but if we're talking about a temperature range, quite a narrow range here. For difference between 32 and 28 could mean your plant's surviving or dying.
Good between life and death with some plants, definitely.
And it's also about how well that light's been reflected as well. Come back to the photosynthetically active radiation.
So if we decide to cover our tents in black material, plants not going to get a lot of light because it's being absorbed.
Well, you're going to have to use a lot more light. You have to use more lights because the light that you're producing is not going to be reflective and not going to be bounced around the tent correctly.
There's one thing that I've always been, it's a bit of a myth or a rumour, I'm not too sure. There's apparently in some tents this white sheet, it's a bad PVC or something, and when heated up it can give off some sort of gas. Is that correct? Is that not true?
There is some, like everything, fortunately Homebox's tents were copied, imitated, and this happens to a lot of premium products, and some of the cheaper tents available do off gas, and that's with both the silver and the white tents. Right. And the cheaper ones, people are making basically knockoff copies, and when they get hot, the cheaper material is not designed to basically get hot, to get wet, and they do exactly what Thomas said. They tend to off gas, and it smells, if you can smell something off gassing, it's quite hard to detect, but it smells a bit like when you've had like some new lino or some decorating done.
Put it this way, it's something you don't want your plants to be exhaling.
Absolutely, you don't want to be inhaling it, let alone your plants.
Yeah, so that's why you've got to steer away from all the cheap version of the tents, because you can pick up a tent off eBay or whatever for next to nothing, £50.
You can buy something super cheap on eBay.
It's quite a funny story about those super cheap tents on eBay,
Go on, humour us, Stephen.
We had a certain customer who wanted to buy a tent off us, and at NPK we don't sell the rubbish because it's just
It's not beneficial to the plants, it's not beneficial to the customer, and it's not beneficial to the store, because at NPK we strive to make our customers happy and satisfied, and to give them a product that we know is going to serve them well and that they're going to be happy with. So we're not willing to put our neck on the line for some dodgy import that you're going to hang a light up, go out to walk the dog, come back and the tent fell down on top of your plants. That's not what we're going to do.
Exactly. You've got to think of your tent as like the building blocks of your environment. It's the scaffolding of your grow room. So everything is built around the tent. All the other products you're using, your filter, fan, lights, system, everything's hanging in that tent. So it's got to be strong.
It all revolves around the tent, doesn't it?
It all revolves around the tent.
Yeah, just before I forget, this gentleman came into the shop and he was looking to buy one of our tents. Because we do not sell the cheap imitation.
Yeah, because you just sell the Homebox Evolution, you sell the Grow Lab,
the BudBoxes, the Secret Gardens, the top quality tents. We don't sell anything like that.
Sell all the quality branded ones.
So he came in, he said like a 3 metre by 3 metre tent.
It's a pretty big tent.
Big tent. And how much can you do it for? So we told him. And he said, it's a bit too expensive, it's out my budget.
Now a tent that size, I know personally, Stephen, it's going to need at least maybe 10 or 12 inch extraction fan fitted to that.
It's funny you should say that actually, because 2 weeks later he came in and he said, do you have a 6 inch to 12 inch reducer or 12 to 6 reducer?
I think I know where this is going.
And I said, no, they're pretty custom jobs, so we can get them in for you, but why do you need that? Because I remember you saying that you were buying a 3 metre by 3 metre tent. He was like, yeah, I got it off the internet, really great price. But the thing is, the exhaust is only 6 inches. So for those of you that don't know, when you're using extraction in a 3 metre by 3 metre tent, you need a big fan to replace the
So
tent
hence,
outside.
he's going to be getting the SANlight knife out and giving that a cut down to size, is he?
That's
I
what
mean,
you get when you buy cheap.
there's only so much you can do with 6 inches. I mean, 12 inches is much better.
Still talking about it.
Oh, sorry, yeah, we're definitely still talking about extraction.
That's rich coming from you, folks. So we've got this really good tent, we've got Homebox Power, but I've also, myself and NPK Technology has got a duty to our customers to make sure that we can get them these top quality products for a very good price. Now, it's all very well saying, here's the crown jewels of tents, but nobody can afford it. Now, one thing I do know about Homebox, it's very good quality, it's also got pretty good prices with it. I mean, you can pick up 2.4 by 1.2 in our store for £220, and what they're actually doing at the moment, there's an offer on, so they're actually giving you some free stands that basically fit inside the tent or externally outside the tent, and you can fit some equipment to it, maybe some ballast or timers, thermostats, or so on and so on. It's just a nifty little gimmick, and this offer's lasting for a further 30 days, so
It keeps everything nice and tidy.
it does. It looks pretty well, and there's also one on display in the store if you want to come and have a look as well.
If you come into our store in the next few days, you'll also see we've just harvested our tobacco, nice golden Virginia. It's currently drying, possibly be curing by the time you're listening to this podcast. It'll be curing.
Well, we're only going to give it a quick drying process, about 30 days. Yeah.
So come in, check out the golden Virginia, and that was grown in Grow Lab with the viewing windows. Tell us about this one, Foxy.
The Grow Lab is originally a brand that was sold in North America. It's a really nice tent, silver line tent. The unique features of it has nice thicker material, still has quality corners, but the main feature that people like is the viewing windows. So you can
It's a very good feature.
So you can have a look inside your tent, but without sort of opening the door. Big viewing windows. So these windows are nearly like the full size of the front of a tent, and they're also, it might sound obvious, they're actually clear viewing windows, because again, like everything, there is some cheap copies about, but there'll be viewing windows and viewing windows. The cheap copies you're going to see available online on eBay and stuff, like viewing windows, but they're a bit like when you see a shop that's got the workman in with all the white scrub, so it's a bit useless really.
And like we said before, using the cheap materials, cheap tents, you're going to get that off.
And yeah, absolutely, you don't want that. They've got all the features you'd expect to see as well, like the double ventilation socks, nice thick material, so you're not going to get any light leaking. foliage, decent quality poles, decent quality corners. And with any good brand like Homebox and GrowLab, you get no warranty.
How long is the warranty on these tents?
Warranty on the Homebox Evolution is 2 years, and on the GrowLab is a year. And that's a no quibble warranty. We can tell if it's a genuine product, so we'll just ask you to give us some information from the tent, send us a quick little picky, and if you should damage it in some way, or even if you've moved house and you've lost that one corner, sod's law, pack it all up.
Well, it's pretty funny that you mentioned that, Foxy. So, lost a few corners. We can get the corners, can we?
You can get anything you want. We sell loads
lost
of
a
corners.
few poles. Can we get a few poles?
You can get poles, corners, full skin.
So what about moved house with the missus the other week, packed everything up into bin bags and boxes, gets to the new house, and out comes a skeleton of poles, but lo and behold there's no sheet. Can we get a new complete skin?
You can get a new complete skin.
Excellent.
It's good that we haven't had to exercise any of these yet, because we haven't had any.
No, but just so long as the customer knows.
No, it's a rare occurrence to get a return, but we have customers that use our tents for years and years and years. Some of the cheaper tents out there, they're almost sort of like you'd be lucky if you got to use it once. You'd be lucky if it was one trick. You'd be lucky if you got halfway around the race, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's probably going to collapse. The other really, really important thing to mention when buying a tent is all of our tents are fire retardant. Unfortunately, again, not just through off-gassing. Some of these cheapos you get on eBay, you think you're saving a few quid, but they're not fire retardant, and it needs to be fire retardant, light proof, it needs to be safe.
But just with that point that you've mentioned there, Foxy, people, they want to save maybe 80 quid and they want to go and buy a tent on eBay. But as Foxy's just pointed out there, these tents are fireproof. So basically you can't light these tents on fire. They've got a guarantee with these also. So basically, if you're growing in your home with your partner and children, I think it's a very key feature that you should not overlook.
And they're also last year, I'd like to think a lifetime. I was talking to a customer only the other week, and he got a tent. He hadn't taken particularly good care of it. He'd screwed it up. He hadn't even folded it up. It had been in his loft for several years. It was one of our early tents. And he contacted me again because he wanted some extra parts. He'd lost a few corners and poles. And the tent hadn't been kept in the best environments, and he folded it all out, got it all up, and it was fine. All the stitching was intact. And talking about this tent's been knocking about in his loft for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Not degraded anyway at all.
And something that I really like about the tents, we have GrowLab with the view windows downstairs, like I said, which we view at the back wing. We also have the clone box for propagation. So that's also a lot smaller tent, and that's more in for clones and with big view windows as well.
And that can hold 6 standard propagators, so it's a good size cloning box, that is.
All of them have got really great zips, because the first thing that I look for in a tent, I go straight to the zips.
Zips, yeah.
When zips break, your life's a nightmare. Doesn't really matter.
It's a common problem with the rubbish tents.
How good the photoactive radiation, reflectivity, light, how much light it keeps inside the tent. If that zip breaks,
something's just actually sprung to mind, and I've just had a small giggle inside of me because I've just remembered the funny thing. Also with these tents, what's good for us to mention as well is how you put these tents up, because I had a guy come in the store the other week and he was flustered. He'd been trying to put up a tent for the best part of the day, and he was only putting up a 2.4 by 1.2 tent, fairly simple tent to put up, but it's easily put up on your own. I then said to him, so how'd you go about doing this? And he said, I opened one of the zips on the tent, and then I got inside the tent. And I said yes, and then he began to explain how he assembled the poles while standing in the tent with it completely shut, and presumed that he was going to get it actually up like that. And then I pointed out to him, no, what you have to do is you have to assemble all the poles separately, so you've got a skeleton, then you unzip the tent completely, then you place the floor into the tent, then you place the roof onto the tent, and then you simply pull the sides round and zip it all together, and it's completely easy to do. It's very, very easy to do.
All our tents, Thomas, come with full instructions.
And what I would
say, if you're not sure, if it's something you've done for the first time, read the instructions, because different tents go up in different ways. The GrowLab is very much how Thomas just described. You put the frame up first, making sure that all the poles are really tight in the corners, and don't be afraid to put your full weight, even if you're a big chap like me, the wrong side of 100 kg. Put all your weight on it, shove it in, make sure they're really tight in those corners, because it needs to be tight. Get the bottom, get the top on, and then you really just zip it round. around. And you'll notice with our zip, they're really good quality. They'll actually be quite stiff when you first use them. And that is a good sign.
It is.
You want it to be stiff. And a little tip for you here, if it is a little bit stiff, just use a little bit of fairy liquid on it. Just give it a bit of lubrication.
Just one other quick thing before we move off the tents. There's various sizes. Just so our customers who are listening, or potential customers who are listening, or anybody who's just interested in these tents, you know, I'm looking at a sheet here and I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different sizes in tent. Now these are basically ranging from a diddy little small thing from like 30 by 30 by 60 centimetres tall. So that's really small, isn't it, Foxy?
Well, that one started out, that was just one we used to give to shops really, just to show, well, just to really go on like the counter so people could see, customers coming in could have a feel of the zips, have a feel of the material. The shops that hadn't got much of a space, but people like those, and what they tend to do with them, it's 30 by 30 by 60, is they turn it on its side and they use it as like a little mini propagation tent.
A few of our customers.
Little baby
They are very
ones.
popular because they're that small.
We've got some slightly bigger ones though for propagation. We've got an 80 by 50. We've also got a cloning tent that's 125 wide. I mean, the most popular sizes generally with customers are what I call an XL, which is 120 by 120 by 2 meters, or an XXL, which is basically double that size, which is like 240 by 120 by 200, which gives you about 2.88 meters squared of growing space, and that's the size that I believe you've got downstairs here, isn't it, Stephen?
So basically, if you wanted to grow some plants in your own home, you could start off with a tent which is not much bigger than a small fridge freezer, that type of space. You could have that in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
Then you could go up to the size of maybe a wardrobe, or maybe a double wardrobe, and so on.
And if height's an issue, if you were going to use like an interesting space, like you might be using something under the stairs, or you were going to use perhaps a cellar that's a little bit lower than 2 meters, we've got tents that are sort of 160 and 180 high. You can basically find you a tent to suit pretty much any size, any shape of room.
One of my family members who's really into the cooking, they have one of your clone boxes. Now, that's herbs, the clone boxes for propagation, but one of my family members used it to grow the herbs. So they grow mint, basil, thyme, sage, rosemary, and they dry it and then use it all in the cooker. It's a really great tent, as well as growing your own herbs, which is a fantastic little hobby. It just looks great as well. It's in the kitchen. It's always a focal point when people come round.
Well, I've got a funny, interesting thing just to add, because we're also working on a pilot project at the moment with our allotment association, and we're building up a charity. Now, amongst all this, we've acquired some hens, some chickens, baby chicks, and some ducks. Now, the Q80 propagation tent that you so kindly gave to us for a display module has now turned into a chick pen of an evening. So these little chicks, we now have a heat lamp in there because it's fire retardant and it's such a really good small size. We're using this as a baby chick pen sort of thing.
We're going to have to get some photos of that for the Facebook, I think.
Definitely.
On our Facebook.
101 uses of a Homebox Evolution grow tent.
Well, because of the fire retardants, we've got this heat lamp for what the chicks actually need.
Yeah.
And it's superb. They're really loving it. And once the chicks grow up, we'll get it out, give it a good old clean, and we'll get it back into propagation for some plants again.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid of getting a jet wash on it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, excellent.
Any last bits you want to add into these tents?
There's one other thing I've just remembered. You also have another feature called Hercules bars. Is that correct?
We used to have Hercules bars before we made the poles a lot thicker.
So right.
What we've done now is, because customers like to hang heavier and heavier items in their tents, we've increased the size of the poles on the Evolution.
So these poles are no longer what size were the original ones?
It was 16mm.
Yeah.
On the original ones, but ours were always a bit thicker, because when we talk about pole thickness, we're talking about the fatness of the diameter of a pole.
So do you like a good thickness in a pole then, do you?
I do like a good thickness in a pole. I tend to go for sort of a 22mm myself.
Cool, that's
You
good.
don't want anything too fat.
No.
You know, you can have something up to 28mm, but that's a bit sort of over-engineered.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of overkill.
It's quite tough to get it in the holes, isn't
Yeah. Anyway, so basically,
with ours, with the 22mm poles, we've weight tested them, and
It's over me and Thomas. We hung upside down.
yeah. I mean, they'll
yeah,
take,
we did actually do that test.
We'll comfortably guarantee them up to 100 kg for every 1.2 metre squared if they've been assembled correctly.
So there's no worries of coming in and watching you grow look like a pancake.
So
Flat on the floor.
You know, that's going to take a lot of weight. I mean, a Gavita 600 watt light is 11.7 kg.
Nice factual information.
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, I like that.
Yeah. I know all kinds of strange.
He's probably on take
quirks
from
and,
Gavita as well, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh no, but Gavita, I haven't managed to get anything off Jair yet.
Shout out to Theo at Gavita.
Yeah.
We recently met Theo at the Coventry Grow Show. This was about 4 weeks ago now. Theo gave us a great introduction to Gavita lighting, which we'll be passing on to yourselves. Hopefully, if Theo has the time, I expect he's a very busy man, we'll get him down to have a chat with him.
I'm sure he'd be more than happy to give us a educational lesson on Gavita's light.
I'm sure everyone knows the Fox, so I'll be able to find out where they are and get in touch with them. We'll either get them on the show live in the studio or we'll link up by Skype. Good show that though, wasn't it, over in Coventry?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, nice.
For any of you who don't know what we're actually talking about, this was there's regular shows up and down the UK, even globally as well, but there's a lot in the UK at the moment. There's one that we've just come back from. It was in Coventry at the Rico Arena. What was the date again?
It was my birthday, wasn't it? I had to work on my birthday, yeah. 31st of May.
I must add there though, every time I looked at Foxy, he had alcoholic beverage in his hand anyway, so I didn't see much work.
Everyone kept buying me drinks, you see, and it's all, everyone knows all the business happens in the bar anyway.
It was a great shout. Shout out to the organisers of the show. We know them personally, and it was a really great show. If you're listening, well done, and we're really looking forward to seeing you again next year at the Coventry Rico Arena.
And that was
It was the Homegrown Expo, and the organisers were Eric, James, and Jair.
Yeah,
Well done, guys. Well done.
And not forgetting Richard Dennison at Downsworth, Kent.
Yeah,
Well done, Richard.
Down to Kent, they've got a good product as well. We'll probably have a feature on that as well on the show. That's Plant Vitality.
Oh yeah.
The longer way to Plant Vitality, because we all know the pesticide dramas, don't we? But I think it's back now and back to stay.
Well, I'm going down to see Richard on Wednesday, so I can tap him up for an interview.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's get him up.
Yeah.
I like Downsworth, Kent, guys.
Let's interrogate him. See what this pesticide is. It actually what it says on the tin?
Straight from the horse's mouth, why it was taken off and why it's been put back out, and
Yeah.
what the new improved Plant Vitality Plus is all about.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good idea.
Quick summary on the tents. So if you're looking to buy a tent, there's a few things that you might want to take into consideration when you're buying a tent. How light proof they are, how durable they are, and by durability I'm talking about, do the zips stay on? Are you going to have any hassles with your zips? How easy is it to put together, and how long is it going to stay up once you put it together? And just the functionality, how easy is it for a first time user to put it on?
And is it, the number one thing, to remember is environment is everything. And excess heat is the number one quality killer when it comes to producing good tastes, aromas, medicinal benefits that we all expect from our gardens. And also it needs to be, as we touched on before, it needs to be safe. It needs to be something you're comfortable in using in your own home. It's not going to off gas, it's not going to kill your plants. And just keep remembering that old saying, buy cheap, you buy twice. And how many customers have you had in here who've bought a cheap tent off eBay, think they were saving
The words
a few
I told
quid.
you so spring to mind.
Yeah.
But for any of you people out there who don't really know what type of tent or any questions whatsoever, basically we're here at NPK Technology. Come in the store, we'll show you variations of tents, the different prices, different sizes, and we'll try and find the tent that suits your needs and what you want to do, because it's all about the customer at NPK Technology.
And that's NPK Technology Gardening Solutions at Unit 20 Commerce Way, Upper Parliament Street, Liverpool, L8 7BA. That's www.mpktechnology.co.uk, and you can reach us on 0151 228 8306.
You've got a lovely radio voice, Fox.
He has.
You've got a face for radio.
He captivated me there with that.
And this is all off the cuff. Imagine what we could do if we rehearsed.
Yeah.
One final thing to shout out for is if you're not in the Liverpool or North West area and you can't make it to our shop, get on us on Facebook at NPK Technology. You can also find us on Twitter as well, NPK Tech. So hit us up there, send us your messages, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to our podcast on tents. Thanks, Foxy.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Next week.
At NPK Technology in Liverpool, we pride ourselves on providing you with the products you need at the right price. Once more, if the products you want aren't in stock, we'll order them in for you. And if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, we'll happily point you in the right direction. NPK Technology Liverpool, going out of our way to help you grow. Visit www.mpktechnology.co.uk.
Life is good.